Because here in Belgium, as long as you are done with your secondary school, you can apply to any school you want. Depending on the course that you want to do, some courses, they take entrance exams. Like for me, initially I went to KU Leuven. I don't know if you know of that school. I went to KU Leuven, and then because not necessarily as based on that exams that they're going to admit you into the school, but just to know your level of mathematics. So they organize for business students. They organize tests for business students, a math test for business students, just to know their level of mathematics and how much effort you need to put in. That's basically what, for all I know, and then there are some courses where they need to take entrance exams. But all I know is that as long as you finish secondary school, you hold a secondary school certificate, you can go to any university, study any program that you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi, Nancy. Welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you here. And
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Always welcome. Let's go right into it. Please, can you introduce yourself to us?
Okay. So my name is Nancy, but I prefer to be called Kyerewaa. And and I'm currently in Belgium. I'm a student, final year student at Thomas More University of Applied Sciences in Belgium. And also I'm doing my bit by also sharing my experiences in my education. Basically, that's what I'm doing now and studying. Yeah.
Okay, great. Can you please tell us a little bit about the time? Are you a Ghanaian?
Yeah, fully bred.
Okay, so what made you travel to Belgium in the first place? What were the primary reasons why you moved to Belgium?
Okay, so for me, I think it was basically my father who wanted us to join him here in Belgium. So I came, I think I was about 19 years when I came here in Belgium. Yeah. So I didn't specifically come because of school. I came just for family reunion to join my father. So I came with my mom, and my siblings. Yeah.
Okay, so were you in school in Ghana when you decided to travel?
Yeah.
At what
Yeah.
age?
I was in secondary school in Ghana National College, Cape Coast. Yeah. So I was in my final, I think at the time it was 4 years. So I had already done 3 years and I was supposed to enter my fourth year, which was the final year. Then I traveled to Belgium.
Okay, which year was that?
2012, yeah.
2012.
2012. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you share some of your initial impression and feelings when you first traveled to Belgium?
Okay, so for me, it took a very long time because before I was able to adjust to the system, because first and foremost, I didn't know. I would say my dad lied to me because he said I could just continue my education when I come here. But it turns out they speak a totally different language. So for me, the language was a major problem for me because you had to go to school for foreigners to learn how to speak the language. And then after that, I was taking like 2 years back to secondary school. It was quite stressful for me. I couldn't adjust myself until 2020. So you can imagine from
Yeah.
2012 to 2020,
Yeah.
before I decided, okay, it's enough. Let me just focus on where I am now. Because every year in, year out, I wanted to go back to Ghana, just finish my secondary school diploma and then. But yeah, I just decided in 2020 that, okay, enough was enough. Let me just focus on where I am presently and how I can make the best out of it. So for me, it was very tough. For my siblings, because they were very young, they were able to adjust themselves to the system. So they can speak the language fluently. But for me, I still can speak, but not as fluent as them. Yeah. So for me, the major thing was the language. And then, of course, the education system was a bit different. but I feel like the Ghanaian education system prepared us better for the Belgian education system. Because you know how in Ghana we have to learn everything word for word, like memorize things in your head. But here it's not like that. So it was like the easy version of Belgium. The only thing was the easy version of Ghana. The only thing was the language. Yeah.
Language. So what language did they speak there?
They speak Dutch. They speak three languages here.
Okay.
So they speak Dutch, French, and then some parts also speak German. But where I am, we speak Dutch mainly.
Oh, okay. So how have those impressions evolved over time? Those impressions you had.
The impressions with the language, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So as I mentioned, I tried my best to learn the language. So when you come, you have to, especially when you are below 18. So I got a chance to go to the school for the younger ones to learn the language. So you have to learn it for 1 year. And then after a year, you go to secondary school. Those places are supposed to help you to, be able to adjust yourself and speak the language easily. But for me, I spent a year in secondary school. Then I had to stop because some things came up. And so it's how would I say? It was like some kind of a distraction for my education. So I had to stop and some other things that I had to do. So for me, the language, in the beginning, it was very tough. And I'm also a very, should I say, I'm not shy, but I'll say I'm quiet. I'm very quiet. So I don't speak much. And so if you are learning a new language and you don't speak much, it's difficult because you need to speak to actually get it. Yeah. So for me, it just moved from being difficult, very difficult, to it becoming a bit more comfortable because now I can find my way around. I can converse with people, talk to people, and all that. But then studying with the language is a big issue for me. But for now, I've just accepted how it is now, and I'm doing my best to improve. Although I'm studying in English, I'm doing my best to improve because I am here. So I need to learn and then be able to mingle with the people here.
Yeah, great. Nice, you are learning and improving. Yeah, I'm happy about that. What were the biggest cultural differences you noticed between Ghana and Belgium?
I think I would say, in Ghana, most of us, we are like family, especially when you live in a compound house. Everyone actually, some way, someone cares about each other. You can, come outside and talk with people. I think it might be the same with US when it comes to, like, when you come abroad, everyone is by themselves. Everyone is inside. You can't just decide to come outside and be conversing with people.
Yeah.
Everyone is just inside. So I think that was a big shock for me. It's like you even meet your neighbor and they'll just bypass sometimes, but some of them are friendly. But for Belgians, I think they are mostly closed. They don't open up to a lot of people until maybe they get to know you better. Then they open up to you. But also one thing that I learned was when someone meets you, for Ghana, when you meet somebody, you'll be like, oh, good morning, Pacho, good morning, and all those things. But here, sometimes they will just bypass. No one cares. You can greet somebody and they don't mind you and all that. Yeah, but I think it's just them protecting themselves. I don't know. I mean, for most of us, when you meet new people for the first time, you might not be open. So until you get some time to get to know them. So that was a major shock for me, seeing that most of them were like, everyone was by themselves. They're just inside. But in Ghana, all of us, we are somewhat family. Yeah,
that's true. And how has this differences impacted your daily life and
for me, I wouldn't say it has impacted my daily life because I would say, as I mentioned before, I'm very quiet and I also keep to myself. So it's like, yeah, okay, if this how they are, me too. That's also how I am. So let's just go with it. So it hasn't really impacted me much, but maybe I would say some of the things that they do in school, like some of these people are more not open, but they tend to ask questions. um in Ghana, in our school system, you have to keep quiet, put your hand on your mouth until the teacher gives you permission to talk. Or sometimes even in our culture, in our families, they tell you, as a child, you don't have to be asking too much questions to the elders and those things. So some of these things have helped me to open up more and talk. Like when something is wrong and I don't like, I should, because if you don't take care, sometimes some of these, not all of them though, but some people, I don't know, I think it's all around, even with Ghanaians. If you don't open up to what is wrong or what is happening to you, people tend to uh, exert their power over you. So opening up to talk, to ask questions, some of these things I have also learned from them. And yeah, it's been helpful.
Okay, so I'm taking you back to when you left Ghana to
Thank you.
Belgium, and with the school system, how was it like
In
in
Belgium.
Belgium? Yeah.
Okay. I think it's basically the same with Ghana, because they have 6 year secondary school. And in Ghana, we also have the same, because we have the 3 years junior high and then 3 years senior high. So 6 years is the same. And what we study also, it's kind of the same. The only difference is the approach, how we learn. Because in Ghana, I remember back in secondary school, I don't remember some of the science students going to the science lab because sometimes there's no even science lab. But here, I remember when I came, I did some science for some time, and we were always in the lab, so it was interesting. So I think that also, that is the difference. And then, as I mentioned before, the approach when it comes to studying, they tell you one interesting thing I learned. They tell you where to study for exams, which would never happen in Ghana. It would never
Wow.
happen in Ghana. Because I remember in Ghana, one science teacher, he told us, oh, you all should learn from Form 1. We were in Form 3, JHS. You all should learn from Form 1 to Form 3. Then, to our surprise, nothing from Form 1, nothing from Form 2 came, only Form 3. So it was like too stressful. Imagine having to learn everything from Form 1 to Form 3. But here, they usually tell you the places where you need to study for your exam. So I think that also, it's a plus for Belgians. I really like it as compared to
Yeah.
Ghana. Now
Ghana.
Ghana is stressful.
Yeah, they do stress us a lot. Is I think
Yeah,
it's the mentality of the slave trade. They still have
yeah,
they
yeah,
still
yeah,
have that mentality. And I think
yeah.
in our education system, there is a lot of work to be done there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we don't really learn anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I realized is that if you ask a student to cram and to, yeah, just memorize something to give you, they'll just do that and
Mm-hmm.
give you that information. But at the end of the day, they don't learn anything from it. They'll
Yeah.
just forget everything that they memorize. But I feel like this, with this one, sometimes you need to memorize certain things, but also sometimes they give you the freedom to give your own examples, to come up with your own ideas, and it helps for
Yeah.
students to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really true because at the end of the day, we are going to work on the job market. We should get that
Mm-hmm.
mentality of preparing students for the job market, not for
Yeah, exactly.
preparing them for the exams. And
Yeah,
this is some of the things that our leaders should learn and then implement in our educational systems.
yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly.
So how did you prepare for the move when you were coming, like when you were leaving Ghana?
Interestingly, I wasn't really moved by the fact that I was coming abroad. I remember when I was coming, we had our exams. I told you I completed the third year. So we had exams, and when on the last day when we're going home, then I told some people that I will not come back because I'm going abroad. And they were like, you were studying so much for exams. Like, yeah. When I come abroad, I'll still go to school. So it's the same thing. So for me, I wasn't really moved by the idea as compared to sometimes, when in Ghana, they tell you you're going abroad, then yeah, you forget everything.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I wasn't really moved because I was like, yeah, if it happens, that's fine. If it doesn't happen, it's okay. I'll still go ahead and do what I have to do. So I think when we came back home, I didn't return when school reopened. So we didn't really make any preparations. The only thing that we did was we went to braid our hair, and then the people in our compound were like, won't you go back to school? Because in Ghana, when you're traveling, you don't tell people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the truth. Yeah, you don't have to
tell people. So the only thing that I think made that suspicious was when we went to braid our hair. We went to braid rasta, so they realized that maybe that something is happening, but we did it the night before we came. So yeah, that's the only. I didn't really make any much preparation. As I said, it wasn't a big deal for me, so to speak. Yeah, it was just okay. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Can you describe your experience with adjusting to the climate, the weather in Belgium?
I have an interesting story with the weather.
Yeah.
So we came in September, and in September it's the beginning of. I think we came in 22nd September, and it was in autumn, fall. So the weather was a bit chilly, and my dad didn't tell us that it would be a bit chilly here in Belgium. So he didn't prepare us. We wore our African print. We were ready. As soon as we got outside the airport, then the cold hit us because sometimes it can be cold in Ghana, maybe at dawn, but it's not the same as compared to here. So yeah, for me, it wasn't. It was okay. It's just the beginning that the weather hit us because we were not prepared. We had nothing on, so it was just that. But since then, I remember in 2012 it snowed so much because they said that was the first time in a long time that it had snowed so much. So we came to meet. We were in the thick of the cold. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, we prepared ourselves, and basically you get cold here and there, Qatar and all those things because it's a new environment. But we just adjusted. Yeah, and as I mentioned, Belgians are a bit close. I think it's because of the weather. Because it's always cold here, it's raining and all, but yeah. I suppose I've answered the question.
Yeah, you have. And I can imagine when we moved here to America at first, we moved to South Dakota. So I know what you're talking about. South Dakota, and I can't say the whole of America, but it's quite very cold, very cold. It's not warm. It's very cold. Like it's not. So I know what you're talking about. And those who are preparing to move to Belgium, you should know the difference. It says from September it's very cold there, right?
Yeah. I think September is the beginning of the fall, so it gets a bit cold, but not as cold as compared to the winter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So how did you navigate the language barrier? Well, you said that you had difficulties with the language. So how did you navigate through it?
I think as I mentioned, for any language, speaking is the best way to learn. For me, while I was in school, in secondary school, the teachers were like I was doing well, but because I don't speak much, so I don't know, are you an Ashanti?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ashanti people, we only sometimes they say we only know how to write English, but we don't know how to really speak it.
Oh yeah.
That was the case for me with the Dutch language because when it came to writing, I was really good. I was actually performing well in all my exams, but the only problem was just speaking. So I think for me, my problem was because the first point is that I wasn't here. I was here, but I wasn't here because I didn't adjust myself to the system. I didn't like the fact that I was taking 2 years back. So I was still in Ghana. Like my mind, my spirit, everything was still in Ghana, but I wasn't here. I was physically here, but I wasn't here. So because of that, I wasn't paying attention to all these things. Like I should learn the language, take it seriously, maybe speak more. But I think I've navigated through. Sometimes maybe when I don't understand a certain word, I just ask my sister and then she tells me. Sometimes also I use a dictionary to find the meaning of words. So for example, if I want to talk to somebody and maybe a Belgian and I'm chatting only in Dutch, I try to form my sentences in my head before I talk to this person. So by the time I speak to this, I'm ready with my. But when it gets deep, that's where the problem is. Yeah. But sometimes also it depends on who I'm speaking to, actually. And maybe the mood. I don't know how that works. Sometimes I flow so well. Other times it's like the language has just evaded me. I can't even remember a word from the language. Yeah. But basically it depends for everyone. There are people who learn languages easily. And then also some of us, it takes some time. So what I would say to anyone, maybe if you're coming here, maybe you've planned that you want to come. Maybe now there's internet, so you can go on YouTube to start getting used to some of the words. And then here with the language, they pronounce every letter in the word. So for me, there are some words like the R, they pronounce it like so it's it can be difficult. Some of the words I still pronounce it with my English R. But it's so fine. I think it's bit by bit. And because I've not found myself in spaces where we are always speaking Dutch. So I think that's also been the reason, because at home we speak Tree and sometimes English. Then I go to school, we speak English. It's only when I go to work that I speak Dutch, but it's not much. So I don't speak much Dutch. But so far, I think I've navigated through the system a bit. And as I mentioned, I'm planning to learn it more and become better at it.
Did you at any point take a class for the language?
Yeah, the beginning when we came here, the first year, I took a class. As I mentioned, I was able to write well, so the teachers thought I could speak, but the speaking was a problem for me. But yeah, I took a class, and then I remember I also took some classes, but they were in Dutch. Yeah.
Okay. So were there any surprises or unexpected challenges you faced upon arrival in Belgium that you like to share?
Surprises.
Yeah.
No, I think the only surprises that I've already mentioned is one, the weather, and then also the fact that they are closed, everyone is by themselves, and then the school system, of course, how we approach our examination. I think that one was the biggest shock for me, that the teacher will tell you where to study for exams. It was the biggest surprise for me. Yeah.
Okay. So when was the language a criteria for admission in school?
Yeah. It's the language they speak. So they have three different parts. But Belgium has a very complicated system. Government. I don't know if you've heard of it. Some people joke about it.
No.
So they have the Brussels side, like where they speak French. Then they have the Antwerp, the Flemish side where they speak Dutch, and then the small part where they speak German. And they all have their governments, and they all have. So it's a bit complicated. But when you are in the Flemish side, you have to, especially when you are going to secondary school, it's requirements. You need to be able to speak. That's why when students come here, they let them go to school for foreigners to learn how to speak the language when you are below 18. But when you are older, you still have to go, they call it orientation. So you still have to go and learn the language and also learn about the system here in Belgium. So it's even for our parents, they have to go and learn the language to some level. But you know, some of them, they came here for money. So sometimes it's like, yeah, it's stressful having to go to work, come back to study. So if you want to just assimilate yourself into the system, the first place to start from is a language. And it's a requirement for so many places. So
okay. Wow. So how does the educational system in Belgium differ from what you were accustomed to in Ghana?
Let me see. Okay, I'll say with the education system in Ghana, here in Belgium, when it comes to paying school fees, I think it's a bit lower as compared to Ghana. So it's like everyone has a chance to go to school, especially secondary school. Everyone has a chance. And then they also pay you for going to school.
Wow.
So
At what level?
For secondary school students, I think it's from secondary school to, I think it's from as soon as you are young to university. And for university, it's to a certain age, if I'm correct. Because why I say this is because they have something called kinderbijslag. So kinderbijslag is like some money they give to children up to 18. And maybe up to a time where you are still at university, but at a certain age, like I think 26 or 25, one of them. So they give you kinderbijslag every month to every child. And
Wow.
then also there's the yearly or annual amounts that one you have to apply for it. It's also called, it's like bursary or grants. I don't know how they call it in English. Like it's some form of bursary that they give to students. And when you're at university also, you get that, but you have to be not a citizen, but you have to have residence here in Belgium. That's when you can qualify, and you also have to be at university. And when you're at university, you need to at least have like 30 or I think 27 credits, 27 credits or study points to qualify for that. So I think it's a very good system where it gives everyone a chance to go to school, but it's not like it's totally free. You would pay for certain things. Yeah. But as compared to Ghana, especially with the free SHS that they have now, I think it's good, but it could be implemented better. Because looking at Ghana with our financials, and we are not in a good place to have total free education. Because I believe the students or the school can pay something, at least maybe for I don't know how it works totally in with the free SHS, but I still think that it shouldn't be completely free. So the schools can get some things to, get along. But here in Belgium, and one thing I also, I don't know the school system, especially at the university level, how much they pay for school fees. But here, when you have permanent residence and all, you pay. But I remember when I went to university for the first time, I paid about 200 euros for the whole academic year, and I was surprised. Because I've heard of USA and all these places paying like tens of thousands of dollars just to be cool. And here you are only I think last year I paid about 100 and something euros for the whole academic year. So the Belgians, I think they just want everyone to have access to quality education. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In the US, people are having a lot of students loan when you go to the university, but the high school is free, and the kindergarten too is free. But when you have a younger case, maybe toddlers, infants, like from 0 to 4 years, you cannot go to kindergarten. And if the mother or the father is working, you have to take them to the daycare, which you are going to pay for the fees.
Yeah.
And it's quite expensive,
Yeah, I think it's the same here with the daycare. It's very expensive. I don't know why that is so expensive, but yeah.
So did they have any government assistance for the daycare? I learned in the university, I learned that there is some benefits that Belgium, I don't know, they have some educational for the kids, maybe daycare, something. Is this something there? Can you educate us on that?
Yeah, I think I don't know much about it, but all I know is a kinder-based like the money they give you for the kids every month. So it depends on it's in succession. So the firstborn gets a certain amount, the secondborn gets a certain amount. Then they put it all together and send it to you by the end of the month. So I think that's that, but I don't know if there is any special benefit for daycare students. But all I know is that sometimes the parents complain that they have to pay a lot of money to take their children, like the babies, to daycare because they have to go to work and it's expensive. So, but for the others, it's not all that expensive. And for university also, I think if you don't qualify for the bursary, the highest you pay is about €1,000. That's the tuition fee, the base tuition fee. Then it depends on if you qualify for bursaries or you don't. You don't. Maybe you're half. Sometimes they calculate it also as half bursary or full bursary. Then they give you some money.
So
Then it means that. Mm-hmm.
Continue. So it means that.
Yeah, so it means that when you qualify for the full bursary, then you would pay less school fees. If it's half, it will increase a bit. And if not, if you don't qualify at all, then you have to pay the basic tuition fee, which is about the last time I checked, it was about almost €1,000. But now I think things have increased, so they've increased the fees.
Oh, okay. So that means it basically depends on your income.
Yeah. So they check the income of if you are living with your parents and you are dependent on them, they check the income of your parents before they calculate, because you need to reach a certain threshold before they can qualify you as full bursary, half, or not at all. But if maybe you, the student, you are working by yourself, you have like enough income, they calculate it based on your income. And for students who stay at hostels, they also calculate it separately because they believe that you are in school taking care of yourself. So they have higher, the amount is a bit higher for them than those who stay at home based on your parents' income or your income.
Oh, okay. So when you are above 18 years, they can use your income.
Not necessarily, unless you're working.
Unless
so
you
some students don't work. So if you don't work, they'll use your parents' income. But if you work and it's enough, so they have a level, a limit. So if it gets to that limit, then maybe they can qualify you or not. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how do the opportunities for higher education compare to what you had in Ghana? How can you like the opportunities there for higher education? Can you compare that to that of Ghana?
Last time I joined Twitter Space, and then there were some professors on. I think Edward Asari organized that, and then I joined. There were some professors there. I didn't understand the system because I've not been to a university in Ghana, but I didn't understand the system of like checking your results. Based on your results, they give you a course. Like sometimes students apply for a certain course, but then based on their results, they give them something else to do that maybe they may not even be interested in. I didn't really understand that system because here in Belgium, as long as you are done with your secondary school, you can apply to any school you want. Depending on the course that you want to do, some courses, they take entrance exams. Like for me, initially I went to KU Leuven. I don't know if you know of that school. I went to KU Leuven, and then because not necessarily as based on that exams that they're going to admit you into the school, but just to know your level of mathematics. So they organize for business students, they organize tests for business students, a math test for business students, just to know their level of mathematics and how much effort you need to put in. That's basically what, for all I know, and then there are some courses where they need to take entrance exams. But all I know is that as long as you finish secondary school, you hold a secondary school certificate, you can go to any university, study any program that you want.
Wow.
Yeah, because there are also some students who study courses where after the 6 years, they can't get their secondary school diploma. So they need to add an extra year to get their secondary school diploma. As long as you have that diploma, you can go to any school you want. You can study any program you want to study. But in Ghana, I don't think it's not like that.
No.
Not like that. The last time on the space, when I asked them, there was a professor there. When I asked him, he said, yeah, because there are so many students applying to maybe one particular course, they need to put in some measures, so that they don't have too many students in one program. I don't think it's a good enough reason.
No, it's not. Not at all.
Yeah, it's like you're denying someone from studying what they want to study.
Yeah. That's why I said our ministries, our presidents, they should do something about this, because they have been traveling a lot. I don't know if when you get to the continent, there's something pushing us away from the good stuff that we learn outside. Like, you get to come to America, or you get to go to Belgium or other places. They are doing something good, which is helping their citizens and other people. But if it's because of, I don't know what is it, but I don't know why they can't do that. Those stuff that can help people in the society. I don't know. Maybe someone. Do you know that? Do you know why?
I really don't know. Because as you mentioned, they travel, they see how things are going.
Yes.
Because I remember I watched one interview of the education minister, and he mentioned that he owned a school in America also. And then the president came there some time ago, and then the president saw what he was doing and invited him to come to Ghana and help him with the education system. But when he came, I'm not really seeing anything. Though he's trying, he's doing his best, but I feel like they can do more. They can do better.
Yeah, they can do more. The system is, I don't want to say corrupt, maybe. Because at the end of the day, when you get to the continent, everything changes. People have ideas that they want to implement. But when they get there, it's like someone is pushing them not to do the right thing.
Yeah. I think it's just the system. It's just, it's like when you go to a place for a long time and then you go with maybe a different idea, you want to change things. And because you are just one person, it becomes difficult. And before you know it, you're also acting like them. So maybe if a collective effort, a lot of people come together to decide that, okay, we want to do something. And I also believe that if you want to do something, you can do it by yourself. Maybe if you have a company, do it by yourself instead of involving government. Because looking at the way things are in Ghana or in Africa in general, if you involve government, it takes a very long time. Goes through a lot of processes. Sometimes it's abandoned, and you might even lose your motivation and decide not to do it again and return to wherever you came from.
Yeah, it's because there's something wrong with I think it's our upbringing. There's something wrong with our upbringing, we the people there, because recently someone was employed in Ghana and the person was a house boy or so. He killed the boss, and I don't know if you've seen the news this week in Ghana. It was when I saw the news, I was really terrified because the husband was in UK and the lady went in for the houseboy through an agency. So if an individual, you've set up an agency and you are not doing a background check to see that this person is good, oh, this person is bad. You have to do your due diligence, going through the police reports and other stuff. The person just killed the lady. This just
Wow.
way, and he took the lady's car, her some items and other things. I don't know, but I don't know what is wrong with we the people. It's as if we don't want to work, but we want to get.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
youth now do not like working to get what they really want. And it's about time we as individuals, we put in an effort or collaborative efforts for us to be able to help the country or the continent as a whole. When you go outside the country and you should see what people are doing. In America here, there is something like say it as you see it, or I don't know if you've heard that thing. I don't know.
No,
Say it, anything that you see, like you have to say it or something like that. There is this thing like that here. So if a white person or another person should see you doing something wrong, they will just report you.
Yeah.
You see? But in Ghana, this is the situation when someone does something wrong, there will be people coming to fight for the it's not the victim. They are coming to insult the victim and praising the
killer.
The killer or the wrongdoer. I have forgotten how to put that thing. But it's so terrible. We praise those who are doing the wrong in the society, whereby we go in and then apologize and getting people coming in. I don't know what is wrong with our system, but I think we should do something. When someone does something which is bad, we have to call the person out and then shame them so that someone will not repeat the same mistake. Or don't you agree with me?
I totally agree. I think it's also because sometimes people are not well documented in Ghana, especially because someone may just be in Ghana, they have no records in government. So if they commit any crime, they can get away with it by just maybe running away or something. So I think that is also an issue. But so I really commend what they are doing with the Ghana card thing, because at least people will be in the system, you'll be well documented, you won't get away with a lot of crimes. And mainly also people just need to change their mindsets about certain things. Because for example, you can't be blaming the government for
everything,
for waste on the streets. When you just you see a bin and then you throw the waste on the ground, even if there is no bin, as a sensible person, why would you throw your debt on the street? Because I remember when we were in Ghana, when it rains, you see people carrying their waste and putting it in the rain in the gutters because the rain will wash it away. But they don't think that the rain is going to choke somewhere. And that will cause a lot of flood. So that can't be the problem of the government or the president.
Yes.
So we as also a people, we also need to change our way of things. We always try to compare with America. Maybe you won't do this in America, you won't do this in UK, in Belgium or that. But then when you go back to Ghana, then you start acting abnormally. That's how I put it. Because when you're here and you cross the road when it's not your turn to cross, you might get a fine for it. But then when we go to Ghana, we do things anyhow. So I think the people also, everyone needs to play their part. And someone also made a statement that the government is a reflection of the people.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's because it's the same people that we put government.
Them in the position. With the saying that I was talking about, sorry about that. Well, with the saying, it says, if you see something, say something. If you see something.
I think recently they were doing a campaign in Ghana about that also.
I hope
I saw that on. Is that the people just need to also change their minds. If everyone decides to do their part, maybe in a community or in a compound house, the people living there decide that, okay, this week we are cleaning our area. Then the other street also decides we are cleaning our area. Then it goes on and on and on. The place will be neat.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to wait for government to come and clear the debts because we caused it. So why should we wait for
The government,
the president or the government to come and do it? So though I understand certain things, because everyone has, as I mentioned, everyone has their duty. The government needs to make sure they provide a good environment for the people, a stable environment, stable economy. But we also as a people can do our part.
Yeah.
If you go into a job, don't go and steal. If you've employed somebody, don't cheat them. Pay them as they deserve. So it's just a little thing. So it's like you are not doing your part. It's like self-leadership. You have to take some leadership upon yourself, like your own self, your own life. That's where it starts from. That's what I think. It starts with you, that your own life, you respect time, you respect people and things. You don't take what doesn't belong to you. And yeah, if we do that, it will also transcend to the higher up, and then that's when we can actually hold those up there responsible.
Yes.
But if you are not doing your part, you can't go and blame the government.
Yes, it's really true. It's with the people. We have to change. It's about time. Yeah. It's about time. It's about time. Ghanaians, my people, it's about time to change. I'm talking to you. You are watching me. So please, if you are watching, kindly subscribe to our channel, share the link for people to know about the program, like, and then comment. Thank you. Okay, so Kyerewaa, so how do you balance your academic responsibilities with your personal life and cultural adjustments while living and studying in Belgium?
Okay, so it's how do you say it? Combining everything can be very tough, especially sometimes when you have school the whole week, like with no break. From Monday to Friday, you need to be in school. Then you need to also get something doing, especially I've also interacted with some international students, like those who come from Ghana, specifically for school. Sometimes you need to get by. So combining school, combining work and all those things can be stressful. But first, I just, before I went to school, I gave myself like motivation. Why am I going to school in the first place? Because I don't know if you know, I didn't go to school the traditional way. So for me, I don't have a secondary school diploma. So I got through school through a different way. I think in Ghana we can say it's for mature entrance. So that's how I got into school. And so combining that with work and then
can you share a little bit about how you got into school with the yeah. Can you share?
Okay. So for me, in 2018, because I told you before I left secondary school, so I was just trying to find a different way to go to school. So I even thought about coming to Ghana for mature entrance to get into university. Then because I was just looking online for any opportunity that I could find. So as I was looking online, I came across this opportunity where if you are 21 years and above and you don't have a secondary school diploma, you can still get a chance to go to university. So all you had to do was fill a form, write a motivational letter, and then apply. So that's what I did in 2018, getting to the end up to 2019, beginning of the year. Okay, so when sorry?
What's the site that you use? Can you give us the name?
So it's basically for Belgians specifically, and I really don't know. I don't think they have a site. It's to a particular school, so not all the schools organize it. So here we have the KU Leuven Association, and the school I attend is also part of that association. So when you go on their website and you want to apply for school, but it comes with conditions. You need to be here, like have a permanent residence here, or maybe be a citizen. And then you need to be 21 years and above. Then you don't have a secondary school, then you apply. So when I did that, the first time they'll call you to write an exam. And the exam is also in Dutch. It's a comprehension exam. Like, I think it was 60 questions over 2 hours, and it's comprehension. So imagine you read a text for every question, then you have to answer. They give you options to answer, and it was in Dutch. And I've also mentioned that Dutch was a problem for me. So the first time I wrote the exam, I didn't pass. So if you don't pass, you have to wait another year. And then, so I decided that because I was really hopeful that I was going to get into university with that opportunity, but it didn't happen. So I was devastated, and I decided I wasn't going again. I wasn't going to try again. So I went back to, they have adult schools to get your secondary school diploma. So it's for adults, from those from 18 years and above. And so I went back, but I wasn't really happy there. So in 2020, I think because of the corona, they extended the date. So when I registered, it was like the extended date a week after the deadline. Then I decided, okay, yeah, what will happen will happen. I'll just go and I'll just register. So this time I had no expectations. I just decided, let me just try it one more time. And my sister also encouraged me that you never know, maybe this time it will work. So I decided to apply again in 2020, and then thankfully I got in. I passed the test, and then they called me for an interview. Then I passed the interview also, and I got into university. So that's how I got into university, actually. Yeah.
So how did you balance it? The balance academic responsibilities and
it's not easy balancing school and then going to work. I remember was it last semester? No, it wasn't last semester. The last 2 semesters, I decided to go to school, and then sometimes I have free days. So during these 3 days, I go to school. That's what happened for me last semester. So I had Thursday and Friday free, so I could work on those days. But the last 2 semesters, I didn't have any free days. Then I decided that, okay, maybe sometimes I have classes from maybe half day. So the rest of the days, I'll just decide to go to work. Then I realized from school to the place I have to go to work is far. So it means that I have to leave school early whilst the teacher is teaching. It was very stressful. At some point, I had a German class. I told my teacher I need to go to work, so maybe I wouldn't be in her class. So for that class, it was very tough because I wasn't going to class. I had to work, come back. We go to school. After that, I go to work, come back home, and you still need to study.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just decided that, okay, this is what I've decided to do. This is my motivation for being in school. Mm-hmm. So no matter what, even if I get just the pass mark, I'm okay. I just want to finish. So balancing it, I wouldn't say I really had a specific strategy to balance it, but I think what helped was the fact that my motivation was right. Like I had good motivation for being in school. Because what I realized with some students is that they don't really know why they are there. Last semester, there was this student who had an exam. She had 2 papers the next day, and she went to work the day before the exams. And these 2 papers were papers that she were really tough for her. And I think it was quite irresponsible of her to do that, because if it's tough for you, then it means you have to try, and especially it's exams period. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you have good reason why you are in school, it will keep you going. And also because you also need to get money to get by. What I advise students to do is don't take on too much for work, because no matter what, you're not going to be a millionaire whilst you're in school. So with that little work that you're doing, so you just need something just to get by, and then focus on your studies. And I also worked I volunteered last year with the international office in our school. So I interacted with some international students. And I realized that with the international students, you also need to get, if you don't meet a certain criteria, you might be sent back.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was this student, he told me he didn't even step in class because he was just working throughout but you came here for a purpose. You came here to study. So if you don't take care, your visa can be taken away from you. So
Yeah.
I think it's also important that you just try to balance and not do too much work and
Mhm.
focus on why you are here to study.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, here in Belgium, I don't know if it's the same in America. When you complete your university, you have a year to look for a job here.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have a year. So I think if you do well, you do extremely well, you stand a chance of maybe getting a job here and then staying here. Who knows?
Yeah. In America, it's OPT after school, and
Mm.
you have to get a job within 3 months.
Oh, okay.
If you don't get a job within 3 months, then you have to go back home.
Go back. Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. Here is a year.
Oh,
You
okay.
have a whole year to look for a job. So
Wow. Wow. Yes, what you said is really important. We, the international students, when we come here, because of family issues, family struggles, we tend
yeah,
up getting so many jobs whilst you came here purposely for education. So
yeah.
please, when you come here, put your education like at
First.
your yes. It's the first thing that you have to do. And you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be thinking, you should let people know, your families, your friends know that you came here purposely for education. And if you don't perform, you will be sent back home because
Yeah,
it's everywhere. Even in America, if you don't perform, you have to go back home. Or the
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And also here in my school, they have this policy, or it's like a scholarship based on merits. So
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
you pass your exams, you get like at least 60% study efficiency, which is maybe you passed you had 10 courses to take and maybe you passed six of them. You stand a chance of getting a scholarship, so your school fees will be reduced for you. So
Um,
I also think it's also a great chance that
yeah.
you study hard. Working is good, but as you mentioned, you need to just let your family or your people back home know that you are here for a purpose. And if
Yeah.
you don't study, you might be sent back home, and you have a chance to
Yeah.
get a job here. I've seen a lot of people who have gotten jobs here. So as if you get a job, then the chances of you staying here is really high.
Yeah.
And that's all most Ghanaians we want, to move out of the country and then just find a place to stay outside. And it's also a better life for the rest of the people back home.
Yeah.
So yeah, they should just focus on the study. Studies is the number one priority.
Yeah.
Then maybe if you get part-time jobs that don't take much of your time away from your books, then maybe you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And even in America, you can't, when you are on F1 as a student, you can't work outside campus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't work outside campus. And for instance, if you should fail your papers or something should happen and you are on scholarship, they'll take your scholarship. If you can
Mm.
pay, good. If you can't, then they will send you back home.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
think here they also have the international student also have like some hours that they can work per week. I don't think they have like they have the same opportunity as maybe some of us, those who already stay here. So here you can just work as a student and then yeah. Even for those here, we still have a limit
Yeah.
to the
Yes.
number of hours you can study. So maybe
Yeah.
because they believe that the education is like your full-time thing, and then
Yes.
maybe working is for experience and getting some money to
Yes.
get by, but not necessarily trying to be a millionaire. So you just
Yes.
want you work the whole week. I know a certain girl, she works like 40 hours per week. She
Wow.
doesn't come to school because she thinks that she can study on her own. So she just works 40 hours per week. And then when it's exam, she just comes to write her exams. And she does well also. So maybe just find a balance and also know yourself.
Yeah. In
Know
America,
yourself.
it's not allowed. If you do that,
Mm,
you like you have issues with immigration. It's only 20 hours. You can work like 20 hours when we're
per week.
students here on campus. You can't work
Oh,
outside
okay.
campus.
Outside. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's 20 hours. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, but I remember
Mm.
doing 20 hours or so. Yeah. So, are there any tips or strategies for a successful educational experience in a foreign land?
I think that the first thing is, if you didn't come as I came at maybe a young age and you came as an international student, maybe for your master's, for bachelor's, I think the first thing to do to survive, especially if you find yourself in a place where they don't speak English, is to try and learn the language, because that's where you can interact with the people. And yeah, and also when you're coming as an international student, most of the schools have buddy systems where they connect the students coming from outside to maybe students who already are here, that can help them navigate the system. So that also helps. So you don't feel lonely. At least you have someone that you can go to. And I think basically the first thing is the language. Because when you get the language, you can find your way around. And then when you have a buddy, someone you can talk to, you can find your way around. But when it comes to studies also, as we have already discussed, is that you try to focus on your books more than you focus on getting money here. Yeah. So you try to, if maybe you have a problem at school, I always tell some students that get help early. Don't wait till maybe 2 weeks to exams. That's when you want to get help. That might be too late. So if you come here and then you think maybe you're facing racism, you're facing problems with your studies, there are always places to go in school. And if all else fails, maybe the school doesn't help you, you can. I think there are also international communities on different campuses, so you can just join one of these international communities to help you navigate into the system easily. And then with your books, try to find help early. Planning is also good, because when you plan, you can mitigate a lot of issues that might happen, because you've already planned for it. So at least when they happen, you can find a way around them, and you can also talk to people. In any case, find people to be in your circle to help you navigate, because studying is not easy.
Yeah.
Especially on a foreign land. It's not easy at all. So you need people in your circle, but also don't always have the same people from your, like, Ghanaians, we tend to do that a lot. Because we are Ghanaians, we tend to, everywhere we go, we are looking for the Ghanaians there. You're just looking for the Black people there, which I am guilty about. Because I try. I understand, because you want to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But I also believe that you should mingle with different nationalities. It helps you to understand certain cultures, know how people do certain things, and then you are building a network.
Yes.
And a community. Because when you finish school, maybe someone might maybe you made friends with a Belgian, and then they might find a job somewhere, and then they can connect you to the job. So it's also important that you connect with different people, not only those in your immediate community. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Have you encountered any cultural stereotypes or misconceptions about Ghana or Africa while living in Belgium?
I mean, I don't. For racism and those things, I think it's quite normal that you would experience it, because yeah, you are a different person in someone's country. So of course you meet people who really not necessarily they don't like you, but for me I term it as they are not open-minded enough to understand different cultures. So they might do certain things. For me personally, maybe when I came here at first, but I really don't remember. No, I don't think I have. Actually, when I was in secondary school, I had this math teacher. She also happens to be, I'm an Adventist, and she was an Adventist. So although she's white, she's Belgian, she was very nice. And I also heard that she was very nice to Muslim students, all these people from different backgrounds. But then also sometimes when you do what you have to do, they can't ignore the fact that you are doing your best. Because what I realize is when it comes to the Africans or Black people, we get sometimes defensive with some of these white people. And remember, whether you like it or not, he's your teacher. He or she is your teacher or your lecturer or your professor. So if you do something that annoys him or her, they might fail you, and you don't want that. So not saying that you should be you should allow them to, because sometimes when it gets too much, they call it ombuds service that you can go to and report to the teacher as such. But then don't get aggressive because when you get aggressive, you might spoil your case. And so, yeah, all these things are there, but I also believe that you have to do what you have to do. You have to do your part so that when in case it gets to a certain point, you wouldn't be the one at fault, because sometimes Black people, they can, I don't know the word in English, but so yeah. For me personally, maybe I have, but I haven't really, I think I have, but not in school. I remember one time I went to work as a cleaner in somebody's home. And then anytime I go there, they are really nice to me. But this time, I think they were angry themselves. I think they were already angry before I came. Because when I went in, I went to put my bag down. And then the man came inside. He was so angry that why didn't I greet his wife? And then he got so angry. He started telling me to go back to my country because he is paying me. And I've come to their country. I'm going to take their money, blah, blah, blah. He was saying all sorts of things. Yeah, I think that's the time I really experienced that clash of culture.
So what did you do when he said that?
For me, I can be very soft. So when he said that, it really hurt me. So I cried that day. And then my eyes, when someone says something and I get a bit tensed, my eyes get really red. So he was like, why am I looking at him like that with my red eyes? Then I still went ahead to do my job. But when I told my employers, they told me I should have immediately left the place. But yeah, that's an experience that I really told myself I'm not going to allow that to happen again. So as I mentioned, when sometimes these people, when you allow them to overshadow, they can exert their power over you when they don't even have the power. Yeah, they can just, because they feel like you are weak.
Yeah.
And you have come to their country, so you are weak. That's why I'm saying that we have to do our part, what we have to do. If you need to study hard and really do well, because at some point they can't deny the fact that you are doing well, like you are better. Mm-hmm. They can't deny it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really true. So at that point, did you stop working for the man? I want to know.
Yeah, I stopped. Yeah. My employers just terminated it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
How have you addressed or educated people about your background? Have you ever educated people about your background?
As in where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Usually when I meet a Belgian, the first question I ask them is, have they been to Africa before? Then there's you hear stories of some of them will say, oh, my child went there for internship, or maybe for me, I've not been there, and all those things. But sometimes I think they are curious to know what's there in Ghana. Sometimes they've also heard certain things. They know key people there, maybe some of the footballers, some celebrities that are from Ghana, they know them. So I'm always happy. That's why I said I prefer to be called Kyerewaa. Mm-hmm. Because it's like my identity, to know where I'm actually coming from, and it sparks conversations like, oh, okay, where is this name from? Where are you from? And those things. Yeah. So I'm always happy to talk about where I'm from with people, especially the Belgians, and then those who are also from different parts of Africa. I think it's interesting. Some of them don't want to know. Some also are really intrigued. Yeah, they want to know. Yeah. So I think if even we as the people, we are proud of ourselves and we tell them like the things that we do in our country, they also love it. Yeah. But sometimes they just like the sun. Yeah. Sometimes some of them will ask you, when won't you go back to Ghana, like for a vacation or something? Yeah, they just like, because they just like the idea of sun throughout the year.
Yeah.
Because here there's cold, there's snow, there's all those things. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for your life in Belgium?
For now, since I'm in school, I'm just hoping that I will complete successfully. I'm in my final year, so I'm just hoping that I'll complete successfully, get a job here, work. Yeah, and maybe if I get a job outside Belgium, I would really love to, because still I have a problem with the language. So maybe I get an English speaking country. I'd love to go. Yeah, but Belgium generally is a nice place to stay. I think they also help students. They also love to have, that's my observation, that they want everyone to have a good life. That's what I think. So like it shows in their tax system. So if you work too much, they'll bring you money to pay back. They'll calculate it. They have a limit. If you work too much, you would have to pay some money back. If you work to a certain level or so, they'll give you money. They'll give you some money back. They give you holiday money and all those things. So I think Belgium generally is a good place, especially for family. If you want to build a family here, then you'd have to learn the language. If you learn the language, you can live here peacefully. But for me, if I complete school successfully and I get a job here, that's fine. But also I'm looking ahead to other places. Now we have remote jobs and all these things. So I'm not really boxed into just the Belgian country. I'm just looking ahead to different places. Wherever God takes me, I'll just be.
Yeah, great. So do you plan to stay long, like, or eventually move to Ghana?
Move to Ghana. that was the goal some time ago, but for now I really don't know. When my mind was still in Ghana, that was the goal, that I would eventually move back to Ghana and stay there. But I don't know for now the plans, because we still need to gather some more money here.
So that is the factor influencing your stay. Is that the factor influencing your decision?
I mean, that's also a factor. But then also, I believe that they have a good system here where when you raise a family, as we've talked about education, so education in Ghana can be a bit of a problem. Because I remember a certain classmate of mine, he had gone to university in Ghana, and after 2 years, he wasn't getting any job. Then I told him, okay, maybe he could do something with the degree that he got. Maybe he did accounting. I'm like, okay, if you did accounting, maybe you could start a business by yourself and help these small businesses with their accounting and stuff. And he said all that he learned in school, he had forgotten. So imagine. So I mean, for me, I believe that Belgium is a good place to raise a family, to raise children. So if I would love to build my family here in Belgium, then maybe occasionally go to Ghana, or maybe depending on the kind of job and the kind of business or work that I do, I could maybe spend most of my time in Ghana, or maybe most of my time here. But yeah, definitely I will go back to Ghana, but whether now or future. I really don't know when, because I haven't been to Ghana since I came.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So almost 11 years and I haven't been back. So I'm really looking forward to going back to Ghana. But to stay there, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Are you also going back?
Oh, very soon, very soon, very soon. But
Like
as of
moving
now, I
back
don't
like
know when.
permanently.
Moving back permanently, I've not thought of that. But going to visit, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely one day, very
Yeah, yeah,
soon,
yeah.
very soon. So from all these experiences, I am sure when you are given the opportunity again to travel to Belgium, you are going to take it as fast as possible, right?
No. Because if I had known maybe the language and all those things, that would be a problem. Maybe I would have sat down with my dad to talk to him that okay, then let me finish secondary school and then I can come to university here.
Okay.
But yeah, so sometimes I just advise some parents who are bringing their children, especially those who are a bit older, that if they are in school, they're in higher secondary school, don't just bring them once they've not completed, because I think you are just going to destroy their education for them. Because here in Belgium, what I've realized is that most of the um young no, not the younger ones, those who are a bit older, like from 19 years, if their parents bring them here, it's very difficult to adjust themselves
Yes.
to the system. Yeah, so sometimes they just abandon their education and find work to do.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know for the whole of Belgium, but from the people I've interacted with, that's what has been the case. Unless this person seriously wants to be in school. But usually, because they have to now go through the system of learning a new language, and then sometimes also because the education system in Ghana is not the same as here, they might have to maybe go back 2 years or start the secondary school all over. Then it becomes a bit too much for them, so they just abandon it and find work to do. So I think that, and I believe that if you want to bring your child to Belgium or even any country, especially where they speak different language apart from English, I think you should consider those things, that you would at least make them finish their secondary school when they are older. But when they are young, I think it's easy because they are young. They can just adjust themselves into the system. Yeah. So for me, I will not grab the chance like when I get to the chance to come back to Belgium again. But I would also try maybe different places, or I would also try to finish my secondary school if I'm going to secondary school, and maybe see the way forward. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sounds good. Thank you very much, my sister Kyerewaa. And I'm
Thank
very
you.
happy you were able to make time for us. Do you have any other thing to share with us?
No, but I'm very grateful, and I thank you so much for having me here on your channel to talk about my experiences and also to talk about education, because you follow me on LinkedIn, and as you already know, I love education and I love to share my experience with people. So having this opportunity is such a privilege for me that I could share my experience with students, especially international students also who are coming, maybe planning to move outside and have their education somewhere. So I hope I have been able to answer um, most of your question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also I hope that some of these international students have also shared my experience, have would also help you in one way or the other. And yeah, I'm also available on LinkedIn, Kyerewaa Nancy Ajaman. So if in case anybody else need any further assistance or they need to clarify certain things, they can freely send me a message on LinkedIn.
Okay. Yes, sounds good. Thank you very much for the time, for everything. And please, do you want to send any shout outs to your family, your friends, or any other people?
Okay, so shout outs to my friends back in Ghana, my classmates whom I have not spoken to some for a very long time. So in case you are watching this, I greet you wherever you are, and also to my family, my mom, my sister, my brother, and all my friends here in Belgium and outside Ghana, outside Belgium. my greetings to all of you. And I hope maybe someday we meet soon.
Yeah. 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 Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Recording. So yes, if you did like our interview, please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and all other platforms at Anns-Hub. You are all welcome to our show. Thank you very much and have a good time.